There it goes.
Hey everyone, welcome to Thursday Morning Conversations. Today we have the lovely Becky Slagle with us. We are so excited to talk with her and get to know more. I am filling in for Doodle this week, but don't worry, Doodle will be back next week. So a few announcements before we get started. So tonight at 5 p.m. will be happy hour. So there'll be fellowship and conversation. Contact the church office if you are interested in that Zoom link and don't have it already. Outdoor worship resumes this Sunday, March 7th at 9 a.m. Bring your own chair to sit on and your mask to be distanced. It's going to be out on the lawn of Ploon Mobley. We hope to see you there, weather permitting, of course. Confirmation class this week, the adult confirmation class at 2 o'clock on Sundays, has an extra special guest. Dr. Tyler Mayfield from Louisville Seminary, where I currently attend, is going to be leading us in a conversation on Christianity and other religions. And so it's going to be a great time. He's prepared an excellent class for us, so I'm really looking forward to that. If you are interested in that Zoom link, you can email the office or you can email me. And so I can get that Zoom link to you. And then our final announcement before our birthdays, Kent will be leading a class starting this Sunday as well at 4 p.m. on Ezra and Nehemiah. So again, email the office if you're interested in that link. I think that link will also be in Week at a Glance, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So don't quote the intern on that information. Happy birthday to William Dykes, Henry Newman, Cooker Nodler, Lauren Wood, who was just elected to serve on session. Congratulations, Lauren. Barbara Jones, Patrick Rick, Clay Blackburn, Kimberly Burns, Becky McClellan, Dorothy Stevens, Jay Golick, David Brown, Laura Mattingly, and Jack Seifert, who is getting married in a couple of weeks. Congratulations, Jack. We're so happy for you and excited. Also, very sorry if I said any of your names wrong. It is not personal. I am just really bad at name pronunciation. And so with that, let's go ahead and get started. So Becky, my first question for you. How long have you been at Highland Presbyterian Church?
Well, let's see. I think probably since about 1998 or 1999. I moved to Louisville in 1995 to go to U of L and kind of looked around in Louisville. I am a minister's daughter, and so I never really had to look for a church before. I'd always belonged to the church of my father. And so I took my time doing that and enjoyed just kind of bebopping around. And then at some point, 3 or 4 years after I'd moved here, I decided to join Highland. I kind of shopped around and visited a lot and then joined it in.
Absolutely, that's great. So, what is your favorite thing or what is special to you about Highland Presbyterian Church? What said, I'm done shopping around, I'm gonna come here?
Well, Jim Chatham was the minister when I joined, and I really appreciated because I have a job that kind of keeps me busy during the week. I really appreciated coming to church and just being quiet and reflective. And there was something about I remember one sermon he gave where he just spent a day during the week before walking around the block. And his whole sermon was about things that he noticed and was thankful for in the neighborhood of the church. And I just remember there was something about the tempo of the church that I really appreciated. And I also, the more I belong to the church and become a part of the church, I really appreciate kind of the strength and skills that so many people at our church have. I grew up in a church, one church where lots of people just had gifts and skills. And I just remember how important it was for me to know that there were so many different people in a community kind of working towards the same goal. And I think Highland kind of brings that goal and that kind of focus. And that's important for me and it's important for my family. So that's kind of what I like about it.
Oh, that's so great.
Heat too. Kids bring those interests and that energy as well. And I'm really drawn to kids. And so I like that about them too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I love the children of Highland as well. I'm sure it's been fun to see the various generations come and grow through the church as well. Great. So, the hardest question that I'm going to ask you, what is your favorite Highland Prez t-shirt?
Okay, I've thought about this. I knew you were going to ask this question. So I have a it's a like a denim blue shirt, and it has the home on it, and it's HPC with the church on it. And it is so soft. I always order my t-shirts a size above what I actually wear, so they never fit me. And I either hand them to my husband because he loves good t-shirts to wear, or I wear them a little bit too big. And that one I wear a lot. It's one of my favorite sleeping shirts, actually, because it's so soft.
Ooh, absolutely. Having a really
You gotta
sleeping shirt.
prioritize.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you've mentioned that you've been at Highland for a while. And how long have you taught Sunday school in that time?
I think probably for at least 10 or 12 years. Some of those, I've done Bible school for a long time, but I think 10 or 12 years probably of that. Sometimes I was a sub, kind of popping in and out, but pretty steadily. I stopped for a year. I had a friend that I forever taught Sunday school with, and we decided if one of us ever didn't want to do it, the other one would stop so that we wouldn't feel guilty about the other one. So we both took a break for 1 year, and then now I'm back at it, and she's not, which is fine. She is perfectly fine to make her own decisions.
Oh, that's great. And have you always taught the 4th and 5th grade class?
Always.
Or was there a variation of it?
Always. So I'm a high school teacher, and I so appreciate not teaching high schoolers on Sunday. Not that I don't love high schoolers, but I think it would feel too much like work if I did that. So 4th and 5th grade, I was a camp counselor for 2 years when I was in college, and 4th and 5th grade was my favorite little group. I liked that age group as a camp counselor, and so I'm glad to kind of know them. They're curious and energetic in ways that high schoolers are not. Not that high schoolers aren't curious and energetic. It's just a whole different vibe. So I've never had a Sunday school class that's a different age.
Oh, that's so awesome. What camp did you work at when you were in college?
I worked at Camp Calvin, so it's a Presbyterian church camp right outside of Atlanta.
Oh, Atlanta, awesome.
College in South Carolina, same college that Doodle went to, and I worked there for 2 summers. So between my sophomore and junior years of college, I loved it. It's a huge part of who I am.
That's awesome. I was a camp counselor too, so I feel that in my soul.
Loving camp.
Yes. Yes, except my favorite kiddos were the kindergartners and 1st graders.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
They always had little short spend the night parties, or spend the night and I was more of a long hauler. So I worked with them, but I kind of liked going out in the woods and stuff with 4th and 5th graders.
Absolutely. The 4th and 5th graders want to get down and dirty and stay down and dirty.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
I have a friendship bead that a kid made me. So that was like in 1991 or something that he made me. That was a down and dirty moment between this kid and me. And I have it on a windowsill in my house. So I appreciate it.
Oh, that is so special. So special. So what are some of your favorite moments of teaching Sunday school? Do you have a favorite memory that comes up?
Well, I usually, part of what I like about the age group of 4th and 5th graders, and the fact that it's pretty good. There's not really an expectation of unlike teaching school, there's not an expectation of an end point. And so I kind of like, because the kids know each other so well, and I know them and have watched them grow up and known them in different ways, of just kind of exploring what they like. So one time, these kids are probably juniors and seniors in college, maybe. But when they were 4th and 5th graders, we decided that we would walk to Jerusalem. We were talking about Lent and giving up and starting new. And so we decided we would walk to Jerusalem during Lent, walk to Jerusalem as a congregation. And so the kids spent so much energy talking to the adults about how many miles we needed, and adults turned in their miles that they walked, during the week. And we just like searched, and we had a big map on the wall, and we would track how far it is from Louisville to Jerusalem. And, so it was just one of those things. I liked watching the kids kind of energy around that. And it was the kind of the perfect group of kids that had that little leadership stuff going on, but also had this curiosity, and it forced them to go out and to the congregation and collect we put little pieces of paper in all the pews so that the adults could turn in their miles. And I really liked it. And we've done that several times. And again, we kind of have changed what we're doing based on the kids. And so I like that energy and that kind of creative kind of synergy that comes along with just listening to kids and knowing what they like and what they understand and what they don't know. I also guess there's some moments, and it's happened this year, even online, there's some moments when kids, because they know each other and it's kind of an intimate group, and I'm a trusted adult, but I'm not their parent and I'm not their teacher. And some kids say some of the most thoughtful things. A couple of weeks ago, in Sunday school, somebody in our class was talking about just some dynamics in his life and how he tries to be a good person, but sometimes he's not a good person. And there was something so sweet and thoughtful and reflective about that, that I understand is something that only happens in Sunday school. In school, sometimes it's hard to wade through all of the kids and find a voice and find a safe spot to express and wonder and kind of question and worry. And I think Sunday school allows you to do that. So I guess that's my favorite part, that exploration in a safe way. And I feel like it's a privilege. Sometimes I feel like I'm sitting on a little secret that the world doesn't know, that these fantastic adults are coming along. Like, you're just like, oh, you just don't know how cool this little group of people is. And so I feel like it's a real privilege to know that and let kids just become. And so that's I guess it's kind of a general answer, but that's kind of what I like about Sunday school.
Oh, that is so amazing. I love hearing about that. Yes, yes, yes. So Doodle tells me that you write your own curriculum. What inspires you to write your own curriculum?
Well, that is a very kind Doodle has said about me. What really is happening is that typically Anne or Doodle has picked out the curriculum. So there's a Sunday school, like I don't know how long Sunday school is, 36 weeks of lessons. And Doodle is kind of say that I write my own curriculum. Really, I just pick and sort. So, if there's sometimes it follows the, okay, you can tell me, seminary student, the lectionary. And so I would just like, let me sort, because sometimes those Sunday school lessons feel a little bit too much like school. And I resent that. And kids, I think, aren't, depending on the group, some kids are better than other kids at kind of handling school for another day. And I quite frankly, I'm not quite as comfortable being a teacher of little kids. I don't necessarily know those skills. And so I'm much more comfortable being kind of a camp counselor of little kids. So it's not like writing. Sometimes I write some stuff down, or I sit in my car before Sunday school starts and kind of sort. But lots of times it's just kind of allowing myself to read what the curriculum says and then say, okay, well, I'll do that, but that doesn't sound good to me, and kind of resorting a little bit. And it's important to me that there's some sort of connector. And sometimes those isolated Sunday school lessons, where you, I don't know, talk about Moses and then you talk about Noah, and there's not really a kind of connector. I feel like 4th and 5th graders, and sometimes I've done 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, I guess, depending on the age group, are just ready for bigger pictures. So sometimes you talk about big questions. And I've always started, when it's in person Sunday school, with like a little jar of questions, like to ask a question. And sometimes that allows me to know kind of what kids need. And this group, the 5th graders, last year when they were 4th graders, really like to play games. And so lots of it is just meeting them where they are. And sometimes just pre-written curriculum doesn't really allow you to kind of just meet kids where they are. And especially if you know the kids, you kind of hopefully feel a little bit of an obligation to meet them where they are. So Doodle, the rewriting of curriculum, or the writing of curriculum, is a very kind, it's not, Kevin Burns likes to, he owns his Sunday school class. I own it in kind of a creative kind of fly by the seat of my pants 15 minutes before Sunday school starts. But
no, that is great. I have great respect for being able to be that creative and go with the flow. I think that is definitely a skill that is excellent. So you should not sell yourself short on that.
Well, it just means that I have a little Sunday school bag. And so I'll think of things, and, when we're in person, especially, like, have some things in mind. So it's not necessarily freewheeling as much as it is kind of starting with a little spark and then kind of figuring out, oh, that would be a really good thing to go with that. And we'll do that today and we'll continue. I think sometimes having something that continues to the next week also is a draw to have kids come back because, like, oh, you all, we're going to finish painting this next week. So we've done like string art before, or we've done, some different projects that I had a grandma. So I had my mom's parents and my dad's parents, but then I had these adopted grandparents who were people in my church when I was in preschool and elementary school that my parents adopted. So they have been my lifelong grandparents. The only grandparents I had that attended my wedding and my brother and my sister's wedding. But anyway, she did extended church, like children's time in, my elementary school church. And she, along the way, built, you could build a whole nativity set if you came to all of the Sundays, these beautiful wooden nativity sets. And she was just this arts and craft lady that did that. And so there was something really special about going to all of her sessions because you ended up with this beautiful nativity set. And so you didn't want to miss the Sunday where you did the wise men, right? You don't want to end up with 2 wise men. So I kind of have that in mind too, that there's something, if you do something creative enough or special enough that the kids feel like a part. If you're walking to Jerusalem, you got to be there to count the steps about all the people in the church. So that's kind of the way I handle the curriculum part.
Yeah, that's really special. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So things have been harder during the pandemic. Things have been.
Tell me about it. Preach.
Yeah, Zoom is great but difficult. So how are you? What are you enjoying out of Sunday school pandemic Zoom life? How are you approaching it differently than when you were in person? How do you bring that same creativity to life with it?
So Doodle is the heavy this year in Sunday school. I kind of am subbing in for her when she can't be there, but I attend those Sunday school classes with you all and with Doodle. And so I think, part of me, again, I am not on Zoom, but on Google Meet for my day with high school kids. And so the very first time that Sunday school happened, I just hadn't been on a meeting with, 7 or 8 little elementary school kids. And I loved it because kids all had their cameras on, which is different than my experience. They were all like with their faces in and all excited. Of course, I'm thinking like, good Lord, if I were an elementary school teacher, this would be exciting, but also daunting to try to manage it. So there's part of me that just really appreciates the energy that they bring to it in comparison to my kids during the week. But I also think I've realized there's something really intimate about being online with your face kind of in the camera. And so the conversations that we've had with 4th and 5th graders feel pretty genuine, although they are messing with the chat and turning their cameras upside down and so I think once you let go of all of that kind of chaos, I think you realize that you really do have some opportunities just to talk. And so Doodle recently, and we've kind of known this a lot too, that Doodle, we all know the kids well enough to know that they often multitask. And so some of them, you can tell some of them are messing with different tabs or they're coloring while they're talking, but there's some real honest, kind of earnest discussion that comes out. And I think the other thing that I've realized about Sunday school this time around is that kids are relieved just to know each other. I think you realize how tight knit some of the kids are because they just know each other. Being in a church family means that you are safe, with those people. So it's not like being at a school Zoom meeting where you don't really know everybody and maybe your teacher's a stranger and maybe you're feeling uncomfortable because you're not good at the skill that you're practicing. But at church, whether it's online or, in person, people know you and love you and are glad to see your face and are glad to see your cat walk across the screen and are glad to know. There was a boy, some of you all are probably, if you're watching, related to this boy who cut his hand, on a Sunday morning, and we were worried we knew he wasn't there, and we were worried, and we're glad to see that his stitches are gone. And so there's some of that familiarity is important, maybe even more important online and during this time. And so I've really appreciate that. And ultimately, I think that's maybe what it's all about. Doodle at one point sent me a text, and it was after a day where like the chat was exploding and kids were kind of all over the place, and sent me a text about whether we thought Sunday school was working, whether it needed to be tweaked. And my gut tells me that even if it doesn't, you don't get everything done, or it's not as quiet and as well behaved as you might think it should be because it's an online meeting. There's something really beautiful about just being with friends and talking about significant things, talking about heroes and the Bible and how how that makes you feel and what that means for you in your life. And, saying a little prayer at the end of 45 or 50 minutes together and making sure everybody's going to have a good week. So, I don't know, that it's been meaningful in ways that I think are necessary during this time, even for little kids who are doing okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Becky, for all of this and your wonderful answers and just your time and getting to know you better.
Yes, well, I appreciate talking to you, Megan, and I hope this has been helpful. I know that you care and worry about kids too, and Sunday school is a great place to be. If anybody wants to join in on a Zoom meeting, you are more than welcome. We'll let you be in charge of a breakout session. Megan and I have done it several times, and it's happening.
Sunday school is such a great time every single week.
I will admit, sometimes I'm like, whoo, you got to get your energy ready. And it's a different mix of kids. And if third and fourth grade or fourth and fifth grade, it's lots of boys, which is interesting. It's a boy heavy Sunday school class, which makes it interesting as well.
It does. It makes for some very fun conversations.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to talk to you, Megan, and I hope that this has been helpful in ways that you expected.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you so much for joining us. Next week, Doodle will be back and talking with the Worship Arts Committee. So tune in next Thursday to see who she will be interviewing from that committee. But yes, thank you again so much, Becky. And I hope everyone has a great rest of your Thursday.